Wow, everyone's back and ready for game 2 with Cloud9 versus Clutch Gaming. That was a great intro. It was written for me. I chose to read it. Everything on the prompter I read. Time to scroll through the starting rosters. Selecting the blue side, it's Cloud9. Top, Licorice, Jungle Blabber, mid lane Jensen, bot lane Sneaky, support Zazel, and Coach Reaper.
And opposite them on the red side today is going to be Clutch Gaming, sporting their new Texas Pride jerseys. Up in the top lane, it's Solo. In the jungle is Lyra. Mid lane, Febivin. Bot and support going to be Apollo and Hakuo, with Coach Curry making his debut on the stage.
Curry stepping in for David Lim, who stepped down a couple days ago. Now, after quickly testing the waters with a different-looking roster, Clutch returns with Lyra, Apollo, and Hakuo back in that starting lineup.
Yeah, Sebastian Parker on the NALCS lounge said he felt that both of the iterations could succeed. You know, kind of a lot of people were saying, well, why swap it out now when you need all these wins? And he felt, hey, both rosters would perform pretty similarly, right? And it's going to be based on scrim results, who comes back in. Lyra back in for Moon, I think, is surprising to some, as Lyra had been kind of targeted as maybe the biggest underperformer on the team.
Yeah, well, I actually went and watched YouTube's Clutch series Uprising, and their former coach, David Lim, at the end of the last week's games, said they weren't settled yet on the roster after that day, but specifically mentioned that he wanted to incorporate Moon, though, interestingly enough, neither here today.
Yeah, neither of them are in today, and they are back to their old roster. And meanwhile, Cloud9's experiments have settled on this roster, and it has been working pretty darn well. They had the 2-0 weekend last week with a pretty tough schedule, and they are 3-1 with this current iteration. So that is very good, especially compared to their overall record. And, you know, the rookie jungler, Blabber, has been very aggressive. He has been playing very well, looking fairly confident. TSM obviously getting wins against both, C9 getting wins over TSM and Echo Fox, with Sneaky playing Quinn on both games was pretty cool to see. Their own take on kind of what is strong right now and making it work.
So this is going to be a fun one to watch for as picks and bans do come through. I think the sort of focus on Cloud9 is definitely super interesting. Again, the fact that this current iteration of the roster is 3-1, and considering the only veterans on this team are Jensen and Sneaky, Licorice, Blabber, and Zazel all had their LCS debuts this year. And a 3-1 record in that small sample size, pretty impressive. A quick Nocturne pickup for Blabber, going to see how that one can go. Clutch on their side, though, 2 back-to-back 0-2 weeks. They definitely need to turn things around.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, if they want to make it to playoffs, if they want to make it to Worlds, they need to start, grabbing some of these wins. And Cloud9 in a similar boat. I mean, there's a lot of teams that you would expect to be sitting pretty in Summer Split near the end of the schedule. C9 being one of them, as they have been around for so long and have a long storied history of success in the NALCS, but they are 5-7. They are on the outside looking in at a possibility of Worlds.
There we go. Picks coming through pretty quickly here, by the way. I want to point out Sneaky now onto the Jhin, as the Quinn still would have been available, but going for something a bit more old school for him. Tahm Kench alongside. I actually do like the early Tahm Kench pickup. I think it's just very, very strong. Prevents you from getting dove, considering how aggressive Rakan can be in getting picks. Tahm Kench to save those champions to be very, very good. And Sejuani, again, more sort of point-and-click crowd control, can be resuscitated by Zazel on this support.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Tahm Kench just looks even better when they then lock in Sejuani, and you can answer that fairly well, keep this Jhin safe against the Rakan, against the root from the Xayah, against Sejuani ultimate, and that's going to be looking pretty good. We'll see how Blabber is going to perform on the Nocturne, which has been a very highly prized champion throughout competitive play. I mean, it's one of the highest ban rates in competitive play, actually the 3rd highest. It is open up, and Cloud9 going to grab it immediately.
All right, so the second phase of bans coming through. Gangplank, 5 seconds to go till Cloud9 must make their 4th ban of the game, and we'll wait to see what comes through. We have, much like the previous game, the same roles picked in the first round, both solos waiting to be seen. Zoe this time around going to be a phase 2 ban for Cloud9. Do not want to give that one over to Febivin, who I think has been largely pretty good on the champion. His most played, though, is Swain, and that one, still so far, is available to be played.
Good look for that if he wants to go that direction. I think it can be fairly good into what Cloud9 is showing already. Is it's another target that I think is pretty hard for Nocturne to really actually kind of burst down and get onto. Built naturally into Zhonya's, can be pretty disruptive and tanky in the front line and kind of create space for that Xayah Rakan to really work their magic in the late game team fights.
I actually wonder if we're going to see these team comps differentiate a lot more, because right now Cloud9's showing a lot of good split push power, right? Tahm Kench brings someone over, Nocturne obviously ults into a side lane, and if you wanted to play like a Fiora or something up there that would just sit there and go for turret kills, even a Yorick, which we saw from Optic last week, Fiora the same, you have good supporting lineup for that to make that matchup actually go very well. Of course, you can turn it on its head and go back for team fighters like Orianna and still have a pretty good roster. On the Clutch side, though, their actual 5-on-5 looks very, very good. I think Xayah is going to heavily outdamage Jhin in a 5-on-5 team fight. I think Cho'Gath can withstand lanes, but also wants to team fight with his heavy crowd control and frontline burst. So this could be 5-on-5 versus split push if it keeps going this way.
Yeah, and I think there's even more of a chance of that now that we have seen the Cho'Gath locked in. You know, I wouldn't say you'd want to pick a Fiora or something like that blind, but knowing that it is a tank style matchup in the top lane, could go for it. Mundo also is available, and that's kind of the easier answer as far as just something that has some lane priority and isn't as all in the sidelines style of play. Jensen could grab a heavy team fight mid laner also, and then have a little bit more of that threat. As you said, Orianna could be something that is pretty strong. Orianna and Nocturne are a very powerful combo, and is going to give you a lot of team fight damage in the later stages of the game.
Jensen as a starting mid laner, not funnel. Half his games so far have been on Orianna, 3 on that one. And some of his other picks have already been banned away, so could be game number 4 here. Looking to kind of push together a team fight composition. I think not quite as well rated. No, Zilean. A new look here for Jensen. Wants to blind Zilean in the mid lane and hope that you can just have a Mundo be invincible to everything forever. You can make him super fast. In fact, keep in mind that Nocturne runs Celerity, and giving him more move speed means he gets even more attack damage. There's a lot of small synergies here that it can be fun to watch for, and there is indeed that Swain from Peppervin. Yeah,
the Swain makes a lot of sense. I'm very interested that they do go to the Zilean here, and kind of curious what exactly it was that prompted that, because Jensen has yet to lose on Orianna this split. It is his most played all-time champion, one of his best champions ever, and actually, though, I mean, the Zilean, he has never lost in competitive play. He's actually 5-0 on Zilean also, with a 17.8 KDA, so very impressive. But, I wonder, can this comp that Cloud9 has actually drafted deal with the front line from Clutch? If you get to late game 5v5, can you actually match up and be able to punch through a big Swain with the Zhonya's and the Sejuani and Cho'Gath? Because Jhin is traditionally not the character to do that. Zilean is not the highest sustained DPS, and then Nocturne really wants to be kind of diving onto squishy targets and not dealing with that front line. So that is the concern there, but if you get ahead, that no longer matters. So we'll see what they can do.
I do want to see Cloud9 run with a bit more of an interesting game plan in this one, because I agree with you, the 5-on-5 does not look C9 favored, but they have been on a very good run right now. 3-1 with the roster, with Zeyzal and Blabber in the lineup, the new additions from the previous split here. Meanwhile, Clutch Gaming back to their starting roster, but as a roster that has gone 4-6 so far this split. Previous 4th place finishers have not looked as good as they did in spring. An inconsistent team at best, but hoping that with a new look in a new week, they can look a whole lot better. Quite a lot of comfort on this team. A lot of champions they know how to play. Clutch alone in last, a place Cloud9 knew about quite well earlier this split. Both these teams, though, can turn their fates around. We'll see what they can do. C9 tied for 6th, can go up in the standings. Clutch can come up to that spot as well.
Yeah, despite the fact that Cloud9 has been having a much better run of it recently, this ties them in the standings if Clutch wins. So Clutch certainly would love to grab a win here, kind of reverse some of the fortunes that they have been having recently. Worth noting some of the mastery choices here. It is lethal tempo there for the Xayah, which is going to be very effective in team fighting, and it is Hail of Blades Jhin. So again, kind of indexing higher towards the damage and less about surviving lane with things like fleet footwork. Zeyzal also going for a spellbook, and has been kind of more and more popular. I really do think it's just interchangeable on any champion that is going to go Guardian as a support. You can also just go spellbook and have a little bit more utility, but I feel like I haven't seen anyone use it super well, so I'm kind of a little bit unconvinced on how much value it's having. Generally, as you pointed out in the previous game, they grab a TP, they come back to lane, but mostly it feels like people are just sitting on their default summoner, and then it's not giving you that much.
Well, to get us into the game, we do have a sideline report, as Avali has talked with Clutch Gaming.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Curry, the new coach for Clutch. You finished your first champ select. How did it go for you?
I think the champ select went really well. I think they threw kind of a curveball with us by blinding Zilean, which we didn't expect. But, I mean, I didn't think it was too much of a big deal. I was pretty nervous going on stage for the first time, but I think once I got up there, kind of all the nerves went away and just went to business.
Well, we're wishing you and your team the best of luck. Thank you. And back to the desk.
There we go. We'll see. If Clutch wins this game, Curry is officially statistically the best pick ban analyst of all time, undefeated in professional games.
That's math.
That's math. Quick math, too.
For me.
Yeah.
And it's important to have only results-based analysis, so he only did a good job if they win.
Yeah. Otherwise, his comp is garbage.
Yeah.
Even though the comp is clearly just fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see another new coach on the stage, and exciting for him to be able to get up there and make it happen.
Well, early pressure so far on Fepoven's side. Level 2 for this Jensen Zillion, but right now a bit down in farm, as you expect for a push. Look at the 2-on-2. Level 2 is going to be pretty closely tied, but now this is going to be number 2 right here for Clutch, and you can see back goes Cloud9. Got to go from the knockup, not quite though. Zazel going to take a couple hundred damage. A nice little trade right there.
Yeah, Lear down here on the bottom side of the map as well, but not sure that the lane is really going to be in a spot where he can actually go for any ganks just yet. And Jensen on this Zillion is very effective as far as wave clear, especially as you start getting more items, more CDR. It feels really hard to pressure this champion. You very much so can kind of wave clear endlessly. Blabber is level 3 though, and if Evan's pushing up, if Evan is playing towards the bottom side, so this makes it pretty difficult to actually get in there.
Nice spell shield though, and it's going to be a forced flash out. Nice attempted gank and good timing and everything else right there, and specifically waiting to cast W till after the clock comes past, and then it's time for the rooting portion of it, and now Blabber will be going ahead and grabbing this without really any issues.
Yeah, and that was well done by Jensen. You hit him with a time warp, that's the slow, and it almost guarantees that you do land that double bomb, and that's kind of what forces the flash, because if you do get hit by the stun there, you're going to get feared out of that, and then you may be getting burst down. So, respectful flash from Fepoven. Good job by Blabber and Jensen to be able to kind of group up and make that work, and what isn't the strongest ganking duo?
Slowed, first bomb, there's a second, he's stunned. This is going to be an easy crowd control chain. No way out at all. First blood for the Zillion.
Really nice pressure here around mid lane. Nocturne Zillion, not the dynamic duo you think is going to kind of group up and get that early kill, but hey, they force out the flash early, they return, they get that kill. No summoners used either by Cloud9, so just a really good bit of pressure here from Blabber and Jensen.
Nicely done. Blabber only down 1 camp right now for the cost of 2 ganks coming through, so good pathing by this Nocturne. Cloud9 up 400 gold, looking at the 2-on-2 in the bottom lane. A pretty equal trade of farm. And on the top side, also only ±3. FLICKR did get counterpick here. We can watch this gank yet again, though. Yeah,
just set it up with a time warp. It's a slow. It really makes it almost impossible to actually dodge, especially in the later stages of the game when that slow can go up to 99%. But it's just an easy setup there with no flash on Fepoven, and his stopwatch is obviously not active this early in the game, so really not much he can do to get out of that one.
Yeah, right now at rank 1, a 40% slow, but still enough to make sure the bombs can land in almost all situations. Nicely done, and not quite the juke that Fepoven needed as they headbutt a cannon minion. And FLICKR is doing okay up here, as it's going to be probably a low pressure top lane for a while, as just minions are headed back and forth, and FLICKR will farm under turret.
Yeah, definitely expecting it to be. The one kind of criticism you could give is, hey, if Fepoven is down flash, maybe he should be playing, more towards the bottom side or more around where his jungler is, or perhaps there should have been covering there. That's kind of what you have to look at, because once you're already in that situation, there's no way out. But there are things you can obviously do in advance to try to prevent yourself from getting in the situation in the first place. And give Fepoven's credit, he's farming well. He is still up some in the farm department, and yeah, will be scaling up on the Swain that he has had a fair bit of success on.
He notably is running teleport on the Swain, and after dying did TP back in. Jensen actually himself walked, so still has that one. If he needs to show up to a side lane sometime down the line. Still less than a camp difference between the junglers, so still good job to Blabber getting 2 ganks off and keeping up in farm against Sejuani. Nice try in the bot lane, not going to land it, but instead actually a good follow through a C9 side. Bit of damage through, and now a Jewel in the river is not quite going to get the fear. And a good jump away, Lyra staying alive.
Still, that means they actually get the Scuttle control, and Blabber will be able to grab another Scuttle Crab. A pretty big deal, as it's actually a lot of experience, a lot of gold in these early stages, and that is because Jensen got the push in mid lane, so that meant Blabber could come up knowing that Jensen is going to be the first to actually roam and support there. Lyra cannot fight, and really, those advantages that he kind of gave up to get Jensen ahead are now coming back and helping him out.
So Nocturne's level 6 right now, so I want to watch what Blabber's up to right now. A big trade to the bot side, this could be too much. Hako running low, the grenade not quite going to get any kills, but yeah, pushed well off the lane, and Blabber, he can get vision.
Blabber has ult.
Can ult for it, but no, he's going to go for the Zaya instead of flash. The Q still lands. Beautiful aim right there. Predicted the flash, actually. actually getting that kill. And now Hako rejoining, but might not be starting this play. The flash forward, the double kill, and now Lyra by himself, desperately running for the turret.
Down.
As Solo joins in, not quite yet the knockup. Now FLICKR to join as well. A quick kill picked up, though. This could be a trade of 2, and Clutch Gaming might just find number 3 Sneaky nowhere to go, and it will be the triple for Solo.
Wow, the triple kill there, and Mundo will get out, but nicely responded to there by Solo, getting 3 back. The dive was good here from Cloud9, but the TP wards, not in place really in time for FLICKR to join with the rest of the squad, and it's actually Clutch that responds back, and this is the Acer Predator replay here. Sneaky, Zeyzal have them chunked low. The flash matched there by Blabber goes in, able to get 1 kill. They're able to chase it down. Hawkwell going back in means he's giving up his life, a 2nd kill there. But as you can see, Mundo cannot actually answer nearly as quickly. The ward actually was there, so FLICKR could have TP'd there. The TP is also available for Jensen. Not sure if he didn't think he needed to join, or maybe didn't think he could join, but had both the solo laners TP'd to that lane ward for Cloud9,
yeah.
I think that fight looks massively differently. I mean, Zilean ults someone, the Mundo is there a lot faster. Maybe Cloud9 just straight up wins out on that play.
Yeah, maybe so, but it's the way the play went. So Clutch Gaming actually, off of losing out on first blood and off of losing a kill in the beginning, the teleports down, make it a kind of a 3-for-1 later on in the trade as the cleanup came through. So Solo now massively ahead, up 7 farm, equal TP usage from his top laner, so he didn't really go down anything, and is rich.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you're on Cloud9's side, you're happy of where those kills went. Not that they were given up, but at least it is not on Fevin, at least it is not on Apollo. Those are the guys that you really would be more worried about.
Yeah.
Yes, it is obviously helpful to have a fed Cho'Gath, but this does not now mean Cho'Gath gets to slam the Mundo in the 1v1, and it's just gonna kind of make him stronger in that team fight stage. So Blabber may be able to be a bit more effective with that extra gold. His warrior's already completed, the ultimate's coming in.
Here we go, looking for the play right there. No flash on show means the repeat gank could look good. The ult and the fear and the damage comes through. A couple more shots. Do him Solo almost survives it, but a cleaver shuts him down. A lot of gold to Licorice.
Yeah, very hard to fight back there from Solo. He doesn't have his ultimate available. This could just straight up be the turret now. I think they can easily knock this down with the cannon to tank it up. No TP to respond here from Solo or from Fevin. It's going to be first turret now for Cloud9. So Blabber getting the payoff with the warrior completed. Things looking good.
Things look absolutely amazing right now for that Cloud9 side. A single gank from the first turret out of nowhere, and nobody on that side of the map to answer at all. Now, some farm denied on the bot side as Sneaky and Zeyzal have to play away from this 2v3. And so maybe you get an answer of a turret. First turret gold worth about 60% of a turret in and of itself. And yeah, they will stay for this one, zoning everyone off the farm. The entire wave lost out. This time around, gold was shared pretty heavily, so the Sejuani and the Rakan took a lot of that. But still, an answer turret.
Yeah, it's a good job to respond back here from Clutch. And the funny thing about it is, yes, despite the fact that Solo got a triple kill, shutdowns are worth so much gold, and the turret gold went over to Licorice, so they're even in gold now, right? There's no longer that advantage for Clutch on the top side of the map, and it's going to be more about, the farm edge and the turret gold going on to Apollo, as he is a little bit ahead. You really want to get those carries going. The fact also that Fevin is still farming well here. And Clutch is going to be set up pretty well for the team fights. It's going to be on Blabber, on C9 to be constantly being proactive, finding these engages with the Nocturne ult, with the Jhin ult, and trying to continually push the pace.
Keep finding those plays, because yeah, still a bit hesitant of what an actual 5-on-5 looks like, unless you could one-shot somebody, and I'm not sure one-shotting Xayah and Swain are exactly easy.
Yeah. I mean, who do you one-shot? That's the problem, right? You're going to have a Zhonya's on Fevin eventually. He has his stopwatch now.
Yeah.
He's building Roa. He's not going a very squishy build by any means. Xayah has the ultimate. Rakan, maybe, but even then, if you dump all your burst into Rakan, who really cares? The rest of the team is going to be pumping out damage on you.
And even the Rakan had stopwatch for the first time around, so not easy targets, but still, at 1,200 gold lead, Cloud9 have some favor right now. Solo walking into the mid lane for now, as Mundo pushes the top side unanswered because the Ocean Drake's being attacked, and that's where Clutch want to be, is grabbing neutral objectives. So this is actually a pretty solid pace for them. Again, that TP to bot turned things around, and they've, answered the turret. They got a Drake.
Yeah, and about the team fights a little bit more, Cloud9 also don't have to opt into any team fights, right? You can just have Mundo running down a side lane the whole game and use Blabber to try to get those 2v1 kills on Solo, take turrets that way, and then have 5v4s, and these sorts of things are the types of plays you can look for. So We'll see how they're going to navigate it. Grabbing this Rift Herald will be really nice to knock down, perhaps mid-outer, but Fevin is aware of it and moving over.
They're going to stop them, but only about 3,000 health left on this Herald. They're going to pop the eye one more time, but not at smite range yet, so out they go, and they've got to respect what could be an engage. Nocturne pops Sophie, hoping to try the team apart, but now they're going to look for that play under the back line. A nice knockup. Can they get the kill into Lyra? He's running out of health. The smite to heal himself up, and now picked up by Cloud9's side in a duel against Apollo. But Apollo can knock down Blabber, but Blabber would get revived, and they waited out. Beautifully timed. They get the kill into Nocturne. 5v4, Clutch Gaming looking for an answer, but the bomb's coming through. Could knock down Hako, and nearly betrays his teammate as well. And that is now a fight that Cloud9 might be able to win. 4-on-4, Clutch on the runaway.
Yeah, they will be able to get out. And the Rift Herald went to Blabber, so getting that Rift Herald pretty big for them. It is the trade of kills. But Cloud9 coming out on top with the additional objective. Sneaky wasn't even there also, so he's going to be pushing down on the bottom side. And Clutch made that collapse pretty quickly, but weren't able to really get much there.
Yeah, Sneaky TPing down to make some pressure on this lane right here, and gonna get a fair bit done, it looks like, as no one's here to answer just yet.
Yeah, so my mistake, Sneaky was there to TP down after. Here is the play one more time. Blabber popping the ultimate, is confident to go forward, knowing that Jensen is coming in and will have the Zilean ultimate available. Stopwatch to buy quite a bit of time here, and then the Zilean ultimate gets dropped. Apollo buys a lot of time though with the Xayah ult, and then right as it expires, gets the final auto there just before he gets feared. That was very well timed by Apollo, but Licorice, Stopwatch to buy time for him. And Clutch does have to go into full retreat, did lose the Rift Herald.
Poor Hako knew he was going to die, still give a shield to Apollo before he dropped, and it was a 1-for-1. Herald going to Cloud9 means that overall was a pretty positive skirmish for the blue team, as they still sit on the 1,600 gold lead with the Herald that can make it more like 2,000.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they can get out of that Herald. If you can, especially when you get a pick first, it really does feel so valuable. You can often get multiple charges. If you can march that down in the side lane. Bottom lane is one charge away from dying, but I think you really want to try to look towards mid lane, as bottom lane is already so low, and if you could use that to kind of crack that mid lane turret and get the last of those outers potentially down, would be very strong for Cloud9.
I definitely agree. Right now, though, this Jhin has to play a bit defensively. They've not had any time to put their wards down on this bottom side of the map. You look at the Cloud9 vision, and it's mostly towards that top river around where the Herald was. And you can see Sneaky unwilling to fight for a wave on his side of the map because he might just be ganked. And so it's about where can Zeyzal be, what can he support the team with. Does have a Sightstorm available, but has to be able to get to safety because you never know when Rakan and Sway might be there. Turn your fates around.
And there's a lot of Cloud9 kind of converging to this mid lane, and maybe trying to look for some sort of a play there, trying to look for an opportunity to actually get the Rift Herald down. The ultimate is ready to go once again here for Blabber, so can pull the trigger if they decide to. But you can see Apollo is standing max range, so Hako can jump back to him if they were to go forward on that. And
Hako wants in, flashes over, bunch of roots going to be there, but a nice flash away into Tom Kenshin. Zeyzal trying to bring Nocturne to safety, and Blabber does in fact get out.
Yeah, nicely done. Zeyzal there to back up Blabber, gets him out. It is a trade of flashes. One ultimate down here for Hako also. Not sure if the Ignite would have been enough to actually kill him. It would have been close.
Yeah. But maybe just would have lived. You're right, it would have been close either way. Quick wave in the mid lane, and this turret will not fall. Herald summoned, but it's a 3/4 HP turret right now, so depending on who has to actually back, this turret may still stand. We'll see how good the defense is going to be.
I think they're going to get it. Yeah, I mean, Swain just goes back to base, and
a bunch of running.
They're going to get this. They may even be able to just march it up and get a second charge here, which is going to feel really nice. Apollo is still in the bot lane, so
get at least some damage. It's going to be a 5v4 in the mid lane, as you're right. The Clutch Gaming marksman not around it. Here comes the play to the back line. A quick stopwatch buys a few seconds, but half health to the Clutch Gaming members. 5v4. How good's the fight going to look? As they bought a lot of time, but this turret's still alive, and Cloud9 forced to disengage. They actually did start running the players back, though. Apollo looks like he wanted to TP and enjoyed this fight yet again, and yeah, looks like everything will stand afterwards. So the Rift Herald does knock down mid-outer and forces the TP out of Apollo.
Yeah, and Fevin even TP'd there and used his flash, so a lot of resources spent. They still lose the mid lane turret. They still get a charge on the second turret, so Cloud9 getting a ton of value there. Licorice up to the top side of the map, looking to push this in, and he's going to be feeling pretty comfortable in this 1v1 against Solo, and we'll see. Again, it's really about Cloud9 pushing the pace, getting picks, getting odd man fights to be able to take those 5v5s, I feel.
And to their credit, they have not been sitting back. They've been willing to go for all these plays. They took the close fight at the Rift Herald. They went for the tower dive while Xayah was bot lane to at least force a teleport. And these dives, of course, can look good. You can always revive them with the Zilean. You're not afraid of that first death as long as Jensen's on his keyboard and clicking his mouse.
Yeah, there's a high chance that we're going to see Blabber just go straight into a GA. He already has the BF sword. He has the broken stopwatch, likely going to be a Guardian Angel there for him. And then you can potentially have 3 lives. You can kind of be very aggressively diving in, trying to trade out 1 life for a squishy on the team of Clutch. And Blabber has, to his credit, I think, played very well. You know, in these last couple games, he's been much more proactive, much more aggressive for this team. And, you know, he talked about after his first games, he didn't feel like he was really playing his own style, that he was being too cautious, being too defensive. And I think he has remedied that quite a bit. You can see his confidence kind of growing on stage and really starting to look like a strong young jungler.
Really do appreciate what Blabber's done so far with Cloud9, and looking at maybe their 4th win on this lineup, still holding a sizable lead now up to 3,000 over Clutch Gaming. They have crested well in this mid-game. Second Ocean Drake spawned on the map, though, in Clutch Gaming, despite the gold deficit, have a strong team fight composition and are willing to stay around for this one. So a ward battle will ensue. A quick pull onto LCKR, but Mundo goes where he pleases. Pretty healthy still, over 2,000 HP.
Yeah, but you can see Jensen shoving out the mid lane. They're trying to get Clutch to spread out. They're trying to get vision so they can look for a potential Nocturne ultimate in. And they are fairly spread out now, to be honest. I mean, 2 of them are in the mid lane. C9 could try to engage on this lower portion of the Clutch team, but not confident to do it just yet.
Yeah, the Swain is a little bit far. Solo right around the corner, though, as well. Spotted by a little bit. Lyra jumping over the wall. LCKR's walking in, and now they've got river control. Clutch
started up.
Spread across into the jungle, and here comes the attempt to rush down Ocean Drake. It'll die in about 4 seconds. Will there be an engage? Hako cheating forward, but the front line's in a good spot. Jensen and Zazel making sure no one gets picked up. There's the ulti. Everyone wants in, and here comes the team fight. Nocturne ults in, goes to the back line. What will they find as they want to knock down Zai, but she gets away. The roots come through, and near side of Lyra has to jump back over the wall, and Blabber could be revived, but it's going to time out. No, gets the resurrection. Now Zazel pops the shield, and the front line has to walk back away. Peppermint taking a lot of damage to the shield. The skull is going to blow up, and Jensen on a killing spree has knocked down that Swain. A root on a solo. His flash did not dodge it. Deadly Flourish could mean that for him as Solo's still running away. A knockup almost lands for Hakuho. Still left out to dry though is Cho'Gath. The bombs could land the damage. Could come in. 400 HP will maybe survive it. It's close. And he does stay alive so far. One more shot could kill him. Jensen wants in. Gets the bomb. Hakuho is his E on cooldown. Does he have the damage to survive? And he just barely lives.
So
just
close.
Barely lives, but turrets are falling. Mid-tier 2 drop to Blabber. Bot lane outer will drop to Sneaky. Big fight for Cloud9.
Yeah, another great fight there for Cloud9. They do find the engage. Bevin tried to start it up, but he missed the never move. He wasn't able to really find an effective start to the fight, and then just sending Blabber in one more time. You have to, as Clutch kind of funnel through this corridor, and it's making it difficult for Apollo to get in. You can see that the initial engage didn't really work out for Bevin. Blabber dives right in onto Apollo. Apollo has to get out of there immediately with his ultimate, and then Blabber is just rezzed back up. Sneaky channeling the ultimate on the retreat here as Bevin's ultimate expired. He's able to be trained down, and then Cloud9 just continue the chase. Solo does get out, but they get the dragon, they get the turret, and they get a kill.
And lots of damage from lots of people on the C9 side. In fact, LCKR topping the charts here on the Dr. Mundo. Pretty much untouched in the battle, putting a lot down right here. You're right about Guardian Angel, by the way, has this item now himself, so both the Zillion and his itemization, letting him stay up in the fights.
Yeah, definitely going to let him stay up in those fights. And, you know, you have the potential to just use a Zillion ult anyway and protect that GA, but also in a more closely contested fight, then you can just have 2 people coming back to life. And I think that does give Cloud9 a lot of options. And, you know, for Blabber, it's less about just trying to one-shot someone and more about actually creating zones of control, right? You want to be the guy who's pushing out Apollo. He can't be ulting onto Febvin when Febvin's in ult form and just going to zone you, right? You ult over onto Apollo, you try to make Apollo retreat, and that is supposed to be buying enough time for the rest of your team with the vision advantage of Nocturne ult to be winning the fight, to be focusing someone down. And I think GA makes a lot of sense with that sort of strategy.
Yeah, and I think Cloud9 have to keep playing aggressively, which again, I think lines up with the Guardian Angel playstyle, because I still think you get equal gold at 4 items and Clutch Gaming win fights 80-20.
Easily, yeah.
But a 5,000 gold difference 20 minutes in, where Xayah is on Stormrazor Zeal, that scaling has not come in yet by any means. Zillion has exactly 1 damage ability. That gets maxed at 9. As levels go on, his damage grows so much more slowly. At a certain point, you've overcapped your healing on a Nocturne anyway. Your ult doesn't get stronger anyway. That is not a state that Cloud9 are in, but they must stay ahead in gold to not reach that inevitability.
Yeah, and I think they're in a good position now to kind of continue that, right? They have vision around Baron. It is 21 minutes in. They have a big gold lead. If they take a fight now, they should win based off that gold lead. All things taken into consideration. And if they get a pick, it's likely going to mean Baron. So this is getting scary for Clutch. They're trying to maintain some level of vision control around there, but they have no real wards in the Baron area. 3 pinks from Cloud9 are in that area, and the ultimate is available for Blabber, so they could look for another fight here.
Let's see what they get for themselves. Blue up quick steal. LCR has CDR, which is a little bit useful for the champion. As they look for what could be next. 4 turrets already down. They've traded Drakes 1 for 1. Baron's on the map, though. And Cloud9, they've got wards over there. Clutch have wards in their jungle, but nothing touching the river. So Baron setups, not going to be too hard for the C9.
He goes.
Looking at the top side, blue trinket used. Now looking for the fear, looking for a bit of damage. Oh, a flash gets him out, so no chance they're going to land here. And Apollo, he's got to try to kite this. He's going to do the best he can to stay alive. One more shot, but it's not yet going to land, and he's going to stay alive in the back line. Hako showing up to buy a bit there. And a quick jump for Tahm Kench is going to keep this Nocturne in there. Blabber down a flash, could not quite get that kill.
Yeah, when the tether broke, I didn't think he would actually continue the chase, but he does flash after him anyway. Still, he trades the ult and the flash for the flash off Hakuo, the flash off Apollo, so that is, the flash off the most important offensive member there on Apollo, and also off their only real engage from Hakuo here. Yes, you can just try to walk up and throw out a Sejuani ult, but probably not going to be super effective here against the Tahm Kench, so definitely a good trade again here for Cloud9. You like to see the proactive play from Blabber.
Definitely agree. He even ulted to get himself up there. So it was 3 ults for 2, but 1 flash for 2 is maybe a better one for Cloud9 all the same. As once again, the wave crews traded back and forth, and we'll look for vision control yet again. Once more, looking at Clutch, still no wards have managed to stick in the river. Well, you can see Cloud9 with a control ward in the pit and a sweeper on Blabber, ensuring it is darkness here.
Clutch was at least able to move up their vision line a little bit so they could have, some wards in areas that would allow them to then check the Baron. They can't really access that pit just yet. And for all they know, Cloud9 could be on it, right? And you can see the question mark pings over onto that Baron. That's why the blue trinket is actually dropped. But that is their last way of checking that pit for quite some time.
They've got a trinket on Febiven. He can walk into his jungle and put one over the wall into the face of control ward. But now even those starting to go away. Cloud9 wresting control this side of the map, using their 6,000 gold lead, using the fact that they can threaten side lanes to make control very difficult. Look how far up Mundo is able to push on the bottom side of the map, and now Sneaky in the top lane, shoving up here as well. So a bit more of an early game, mid-game composition, about finding picks, about starting out the fight so far, looking quite good. Pushing away Clutch Gaming.
Doing a good job, but as we've talked about, Clutch, the longer they can keep this game, at this certain state, the better it is going to be for them, right? More time is passing, the 6,000 gold lead has not extended, so it's kind of less in value over time. Yeah. We see that Apollo really wants to get to that second item, doesn't have it just yet.
Mighty, they tried to hand it over, and LCR gets one. Maybe the first of his year, getting the smite in there, grabbing the red. That was a bit too mean, but I do want to point out that LCR has had a really bad run smiting. There's actually a Reddit post, I think, from a week or 2 ago, talking about his career smite trajectory, and he's actually been good at it. Career-wide, it's been this split that's looked really sour.
Yeah, I know at one point, a couple weeks ago, there had been essentially 5 Baron steals, or what we classify as Baron steals from the stats team. 4 of them had been against LCR. Yeah. And that is a really rough stat to see, but Sneaky getting caught out.
Yeah, LCR gonna find himself the stun there, looking for the follow-through as well as Hakuo. They almost have the damage Tahm Kench to try to save, but he still burns down to the red smite and everything else. So now Zay's gotta be careful, and the 5v4, LCR walks into the team, but this is gonna be the team fight that Cloud9 has to be respectful of. Knockups come through, they might knock down LCR. Rooted coming in again. Another stun comes through, but he's healing so much. Gets grabbed by Tahm Kench, but they burst down Zazel. So 5v3 Clutch Gaming may have found their way in. Azonia's popped there by the Swain. They gotta watch out for turret aggro, though there are no minions right here. Looking for the stun, not gonna find it as Jensen could not land those in time, and the golden statue will walk away. Clutch Gaming a 2 for 0 on a tower dive.
Yeah, if they had a healing debuff, they probably could have killed LCR also, but no healing reduction on that Mundo. He heals straight back up. They do get 2 kills, though. This is very big for them. At the very least, they can get some vision control back around Baron. They need to clear out these pink wards. They need to reestablish that control, buy more time. They have closed the gold lead somewhat. Febiven is clearing out this, but I really would like to see Apollo and Hakuo go over to that Baron pit, get rid of the pink ward.
They chose to reset instead and stay on the map in time. Yeah, maybe could have done a little bit more with
now Hakuo is going over, but pretty delayed. Either way, here is the engage. Nice ultimate from LCR. Finds Sneaky. Full commitment there from Hakuo. They get in, and he burns down in Zazel's stomach. So despite the fact that Cloud9 is collapsing and responding fairly well, they don't have a lot of consistent damage to deal with these frontliners. And this is what we had spoken about. But again, Mundo, despite the fact that everyone is hacking him, no healing debuff. He can just heal straight through that. LCR survives. Could have been much worse for Cloud9 had he gone down. Might have meant Baron.
And we can see that Baron right here. It's still that blue control ward in the pit. Probably the same one's been there for a while. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's glowing, which means it was never cleared out. Indeed, a longevity ward. Clutch Gaming got that 2 for 0, as you mentioned, never quite cleared the pit, so they're still playing a little bit defensive here, a little bit afraid.
They do have a lot more vision in this area, though. They at least have a pink in the river. They at least, again, have those defensive pinks to kind of allow them to get up and get access to that pit. 2 items completed for Apollo. He has his healing debuff item as well now, has the Executioners, so that is going to be a big deal for them, and Clutch are closing the gold lead, are being able to kind of survive, and Cloud9 needs to continue to look for that death blow. They need to get the Baron, or a pick into inhibitor, or something to continue pushing this game forward.
Let's see. Clutch Gaming able to shove in mid, looking to go back towards that river as they try to scale up through this game, and yeah, starting to feel a lot more confident. One good team fight, and suddenly they feel like they have to walk into that river. Cloud9, have they squandered the opportunity? Not just yet, I assume, but lead at 5,000, not quite as meaningful as it was a few minutes ago, especially with those 2 kills coming through.
To me, where you really start to get concerned as Cloud9 is, I think, when third items are completed, when you have an IE on Apollo, when you have, you know, an additional item here onto Febivin. I think that is where they can really start punching through the front line, and it's going to get so difficult to actually win a straight-up team fight. So Cloud9 still have some time. They still have some room to work with, and a gold lead is still in their favor, but it has not changed in a good 10 minutes or so.
At least Cloud9 able to be the first to clear the wave. They're playing so far up right there, past the rubble of tier 2 mid lane. And they're trying to control this jungle as well. This is darkness right here, all around this red buff. There's nothing that Clutch can see. They're going to use a sweeper to see over the wall. They know that Jensen's there. But Hako actually reasonably tanky. He has enough durability that, yeah, he's at half health. That's not great, but able to face check without that much difficulty, able to set some wards back up, or at least see what's going on.
At least to one member, right? But imagine if Blabber is there too. Imagine if Seeker or someone is there too. Then it gets very risky, and they are still forcing a reset, which means Cloud9 have full pressure here on the top side. They're shoving this in. This really has been very much Clutch's playstyle. They kind of try to give up the minimum.
Yeah.
They try to wait for a late game and then, you know, have very good scaling comps, very good team fight comps, and usually they try to take over there. So they are used to this kind of playstyle. They are used to being in this position, and you can see, you know, about 18 minutes is when this kind of gold lead was established. It is now at 28 minutes. The gold lead is about the same. So, you know, they have done a good job of stopping the bleeding.
Will they do enough, though? Unlike their name, they've not quite been so clutch in the late game scenarios. Lots of comebacks have been had against them, and not quite working things out. A lot of damage. This time they could almost burn down LCS, but of course there's a Zillion on his team, and Disengage comes through, lets him go to full, but that is now 2 ults down and 2 very important team fight ults.
Yes,
that Cloud9 are now missing.
Super important ultimate. So now Clutch should be able to move forward and clear out vision. That doesn't sound like the most exciting reward, but it is still a big one. The minion waves are pushing on the bottom side of the map for Clutch, so they know that will have to be responded to. They shove up mid, bot is pushing, they get vision around Baron, and this, again, buys them more time, gets them that much closer to that all-important kind of third item.
And that third item is 2,000 gold away for Apollo. Has enough for a BF sword, but nowhere near that actual Infinity Edge that would let him cut through armor stackers like FLICKR has a little bit, and the Nocturne as well, who's actually added an Edge of Night to his repertoire. I don't see the item all that often, but Blabber now able to preempt a spell shield on the dive and then put his other one on afterwards.
I think that Edge of Night is very powerful when it is one critical spell that you have to block. So if you're saying, hey, I have to block the CC from Hakuo and I will smash Apollo, then I think this makes a lot of sense. You go in with the Edge of Night, that can block the ultimate, your spell shield can then block the knockup. So now, all of a sudden, Apollo has to hit you with a Q and break one spell shield before he can even look for his combo, and that becomes very difficult to actually navigate and deal with all these things in a team fight. So yeah, I think it's a pretty smart build, and again, it's less about the maximum DPS. He's not going to one-shot him, probably. It's more about creating space, more about buying time, and putting pressure on this marksman that they know is the key to Clutch's team fight.
Blabber, heads-up player, rookie. 5th game on Cloud9, a 3-1 record for the player. Quite good split so far in Cloud9. I mean, the joke was that the roster experiments were all terrible. They couldn't find who they wanted to play, and this is one that has looked so good for them.
And Cloud9 really has been one of the only orgs, I feel like, in NA that has consistently been able to kind of bring up their own talent, find new players that are doing well. When you think of, you know, Smoothie has been successful on that organization. When you think of a guy like Contracts, who looked very good, they have now brought in another young jungler who is looking very good, Licorice himself, right? Cloud9 has had, you know, a pretty good history of kind of fostering talent and finding these good young North American players. And once again, feels like they have done it.
Clutch coming back with the same roster they had at a 4th place finish in spring. Right now looking down the barrel of 10th, but the game is within reach. And they can hope for that sort of end game and come back. Now looking for the place here. Quick Zhonya's pop. The Swain is in the ultimate. And C9 wants to make the dive happen. Febiven runs out of health. Sneaky grabs the kill, and Blabber able to walk away cleanly, not even burning the Zilean ultimate. Clutch Gaming, 4 versus 5 on the map, still wanted to rush control of the minion waves as it will be a forced recall out of Blabber.
Really strong engage from Cloud9. They find a 5v3 type situation. They see that Apollo's up on the top side, Solo's down pushing the bottom wave, and there's not enough damage really for Lyra, Febiven, and Hawkwo to kind of fight back there. So it's a good kill. It has not resulted in a started Baron or anything like that just yet, but they may go for it now.
Going high tempo, Tahm Kench will bring the team back onto the map, and they might be looking at this one. Of course, keep in mind, Lyra's still alive, and Solo is Cho'Gath with a flash available. Baron is not easy to steal away.
Febiven up in 10, has TP, but Clutch needs to buy time for this.
Well, let's see what happens, though. You're right, Febiven could be a very big deal in the team fight. Ultiless, though, for about a minute.
Up now.
8,000 health on Baron. 2 different securing tools on Clutch's side if they want to go for the steal right here. Still sticking on the Baron. This is going to be risky for Cloud9, but really pulling the trigger on this one as Poke comes back and forth. Blabber blocks a shot now in the front line. They can just burn down this Cho'Gath Solo under 1,000 HP, but staying alive. FLICKR's now on the front. Apollo gets some hits in. They're going to get the first. Almost getting the Guardian Angel now out of the Nocturne, but there's the first revive coming through. That was, I believe, Zilean ult from Jensen, but Solo has 5 HP and has to leave, and now Lyra is gone as well. Hawkwo, days are numbered at 2 for 0. Cloud9 able to withstand the beginning of the damage, find the revives and find the team fight. The flash forward the bomb. Jensen, will he find the stun? Not quite going to get Apollo, but 2 HP. He will finally burn. A double kill for Zilean. The Guardian Angel now out for the Nocturne, but a revive not quite going to get this one. Looking at this guy, and they will get the trade. A triple kill in the most interesting way possible. Jensen on the Zilean, securing 3.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 can just go to the Baron now. They don't have the most damage, but they should be able to kind of slowly kill it off as Solo is pushed back in base. Everyone else is knocked down, and Jensen is there. So Cloud9, they win the fight. They will get the Baron, and finally, 15 minutes later, they can extend that advantage.
Beautiful stuff to call that fight, to stay in it.
Has no ult, has no flash.
Yeah, no blast cone as well. Good by Blabber to clear that one away not long ago, so Solo has to walk his way in. And of course, with the wards down and Zeyzal face checking, he does not have a chance of taking this one down. And there's the quick pickup. 339, the spike comes through. Cloud9 secure the Baron and a 9,500 gold lead.
Yeah, very well done here from Cloud9. This all started with that initial pick on Febiven in the mid lane. Febiven TP'd also very far away from the fight, so now joining as Solo is already very low. Apollo in kind of an awkward spot here too. He's separated from the front line, so he has to use the ult defensively very early, and Apollo is not getting a lot of uptime to get this damage out while Solo is buying time. And as a result, Cloud9 pushed forward. Febiven has no ultimate. They can run them down and really look at the bomb damage here actually from Jensen onto Apollo, doing over half his health with just that one bomb, so still pretty strong. Febiven, really nice sidestep, does at least result in the trade back with that R2, almost kills off Zeyzal as well.
Close stuff right here. You can see almost what the Swain and the Xayah can do. You can actually see the individual damage contributions close, if not higher, on some of these champions. So
yeah,
the idea of what could have been done is there, but the gold lead and the Baron buff Cloud9 able to take away now a lot as we get towards endgame.
And I mean, had Febiven been there at the beginning of the fight, had he had ultimate, it looks massively different. But Cloud9 got that early pick, that got them a big advantage, and the team kind of got spread out, so Apollo couldn't get the most damage out. And just now picking up his IE, that's why he's not with the team. He gets that big buy, but they've already lost the turret.
And it's now 6-1 in turrets. Clutch stuck inside
nice
the base. They find a knockup. Could they knock down FLICKR? They're going to look for maybe the revive, and it's actually been cast on him. They will wait and let him revive. Now the re-engage, going towards Febiven, who pops the ultimate. Now the re-engage, sorry, the disengage as Cloud9 walk back and say, okay, we'll wait out this one, and we'll come back when you no longer have the ulti available.
Yeah, waiting out that Swain ultimate is so smart, and now in goes Sneaky.
He's fast, got a top catch behind him. He can go ahead and throw out those attacks. And as it times out, Clutch getting back away and now missing more of their team fight tools. Much harder for Febiven to do much of his job. A route towards Solo. Cho'Gath takes some damage, but Cloud9 have knocked down the inhibitor. They've got everything they need from the bot lane. Back they go. They can look somewhere else with a minute and a half left on this Baron.
And 11,000 gold lead now. They have a lot of gold in their pockets. You know, about 8,000 gold to actually spend here, which is going to make them very strong for these next objectives. But Apollo has reached that third item. If they can keep this second inhibitor alive, if they can only be down one inhibitor, they are still in this game, and they do still have an opportunity to fight back.
See if it happens right now. Most ultis are available. The Feast And Zaya
just lost so much health to that Zillion bomb, though. That's really bad for Apollo.
Ooh, this could be scary. Apollo jumps into the air, and now he's got to have his teammates body block as they run away and give up. The middle inhibitor turret, the inhibitor itself gone as well. Still a minute of Baron left. They can look top lane. That one will drop to a swift breeze. And Cloud9 can take even more of this map.
That one Zillion bomb gets them the inhibitor, essentially, as Apollo steps forward, loses half his health, gets rooted up by Jhin, and then they just have to give up the inhibitor. You can no longer fight from there. So, little mistake from Apollo, but has a big price. They may have been able to defend that inhibitor had he not gotten chunked out. And Feven does have his ultimate coming up just now.
Death cap.
They're looking
for the big play in the front line, looking for the knockup there. Not going to find the target and a kill. Jensen is godlike with the death cap explosion. Look at the back line. Hako's dropped as well. The bot lane's already gone. The first revive coming through. No kills on the board yet for Clutch. And the back line access not going to happen for Feven. Swain cannot get it to go through. A 4 for 0, and Solo's going to be the 5th. The kills come fast and furious. A triple for Jhin. And that is the base going down. They can stay for the turret. Tom Kinch ults some people into the bot lane. This is certainly going to be the game. Cloud9, 4-1 on the lineup. Now alone in a playoff position right now, looking good. C9 take the win.
Another strong performance here. The blind Zillion Jensen stays at 100% career win rate on this champion, 7-0-6, making it look very, very good. Definite team effort from Cloud9 though. Blabber, a lot of credit to him. Aggressive play throughout the game, got them a lot of advantages in those early stages and was continuously effective, diving back onto Apollo with those Zillion bombs and always putting pressure onto him.
It looks really, really good. I like the lineup. I like the champion select, the composition as well. Cloud9 putting together an early aggressive team, lots of crowd control, lots of globals, lots of ways to initiate the dives and find these picks in the side lanes and force the opposing team to come back to their turrets. Anytime Apollo still pushes the bot lane, hard tower dive, force the TP, back to the lane. C9 has up so much farm this game. Like, if you actually go and look at the CS counts for top, jungle, mid, bot lane, a lot left on the table for Clutch Gaming, not being allowed to side lane for the fear of Nocturne either in the side lane or diving mid.
Yeah, and I think that, despite the fact that Clutch did a good job of stalling out the game for about 15 minutes, kept the gold lead the same, and really gave them an opportunity to win the game, they had put themselves into that deficit, and they weren't able to kind of execute perfectly from that gold deficit as you need to be able to, right? That one pick mid lane gives Cloud9 access to the Baron, they get that Baron, and they're able to kind of snowball that into a victory. So little mistakes from Clutch again, really kind of haunting them. And I mean, honestly, they were close to being able to stall that game out enough to where they can just straight up win team fights, but Cloud9, got the Baron and are able to get enough of a lead.
Yeah, a better played game by Cloud9, absolutely, to refocus onto the Clutch side, though. It is a rough road for them. The 4th place finishers, they got the upset win over TSM. Everyone's saying you can't give Hakuo a thresh, and they went 1-1 4 weeks in a row, and have lost 5 games in a row now. Yep. And it's been loss, and not all of them convincing ones, or not all of them encouraging ones. It's like, well, you got run over this game, and there were not signs of life. And Clutch need to find something that works for them. They tried a roster swap. They've now switched coaches as well as David Lim stepped down. They called it a mutual parting of ways. Either way, Clutch hoping to find a way back in alone in 10th place. Now, for more on that C9 win, going to send it back down to Avli, who's standing by with the Cloud9 coach.
Thanks, guys. Reaper, 3-0 for Cloud9. Congratulations on that win. It looks like you found the winning combination of players. What do you think are the strengths of this roster?
일단 저희 팀 로스터가 이제 블라버가 들어온 이후에 좀 되게 공격적인 상황을 띄고 있어가지고 게임을 이기고 있을 때 스노볼을 굉장히 쉽게 굴릴 수 있는 그런 로스터가 된 것 같습니다.
Our current roster, with the addition of Blabber, who plays very aggressively, he has added to that aggressive play style in our team, and with that we can snowball the games and win.
And how is the addition of him? You've told me before that you wanted that aggression, but how is he fitting into the team, and how have you helped develop him?
일단 젠슨이 본인이 많이 희생을 하면서 이제 본인 서포트 성향이 강한 챔피언들을 픽을 해주고 이제 블라버를 서포팅 해주는 느낌으로, 안 그러면 이제 블라버 선수가 인팅을 좀 많이 하기 때문에 이제 젠슨이 희생을 하는 식으로 게임을 진행하고 있습니다.
Jensen is kind of acting in a supportive capacity to Blabber, to play like more supportive champions to kind of help him to succeed.
We saw the Zillion come out today. That was incredibly exciting. But I wanted to ask for you, you guys are quickly climbing the standings. So is it just Blabber, or what else are you doing with the team to achieve these results?
일단 계속해서 이제 골든글루 스벤스케런 페어도 같이 경기를 준비를 하고 있고 이제 빠른 시일 안에 이제 그 두오도 볼 수 있을 것 같고요. 이제 여러 선수들이 계속해서 경쟁을 하면서 이제 모든 로스터가 모든 선수들이 실력을 많이 올리고 있고 그런 점이 이제 드디어 경기에서 나타나고 있는 게 아닌가 하고 생각하고 있습니다.
So we're still currently working with our other players on our roster, like Svenskeren and Golden Glue. So we're trying to bring up the talent and the potential of all the players, and it's slowly starting to show.
Rupert, Joanne, thank you. And for more, back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. What a treat of a game as C9 continues to pick up wins here now as they've settled on a roster somewhat, but fight after fight after fight in this one, and it just felt like for both teams, the difficulty of execution within these fights was superior to that of almost any other League of Legends games I've seen played.
Yeah, I think it's good to know that's execution that's difficult, because when you look at C9's comp, it's pretty obvious what it wants to do. You're going to have Zillion Bomb and potentially ult the Nocturne when he goes flying in. Mundo tries to follow up. Jin snipes from the back line, and Tom Kench tries to save people. It's a very conceptually easy comp to understand, but super difficult to execute because it goes against so many things that you are trying to learn how to do.
Yeah, you don't want to use a Tom Kench eat on someone who's Zillion ulted, but you also need to have trust of who's going to eat first versus save later. And also, because of having the Jin, the Nocturne, the Zillion, their late game damage is going to be pretty low. So C9 did also put themselves on a clock, which meant almost every play at the start was started by C9, and it didn't always work out amazingly well because Clutch was withstanding fairly well in the early game.
But they did a good job of not letting this kind of get to them, and it shows that C9's mentality is in a pretty good spot because a 3-kill Cho'Gath, picking all those up would be a little scary, but they instantly just flip their aggression topside and find a kill onto him, get the shutdown right away onto LCR, which is great. And then because of where the map played out and Sejuani is on the bot side, they just stay around and take that turret, and they continue to pick fights. But once you get into the 5v5s, you see how tense these are.
Yeah, and like this example, for instance, of how difficult it can be. Jensen ults Blabber, Blabber runs towards Apollo, but Apollo is actually able to hold off his auto attacks long enough so the fear doesn't trigger, but he also waits for the Zillion ult to wear off. So that was actually perfectly played by Apollo, but the fight still split because there's all these different spells that you're not used to having to play around in these fights, thanks to the Zillion being picked.
Right, and this is another example of one of those 5v5s where it's hard to know exactly who you want to go on and when to go. Blabber runs in, he starts getting chunked out, so they want to blow him up. Bam, Zillion on top, but they also get the Tom Kench flash here. Yeah, Sneaky flashes out. Now they're trying to go into Sneaky. Sneaky's too far forward. Hakuho's getting bombed. LCR starts getting chunked out, and so you don't have a good target. The one person you want to kill is probably Sneaky, but he's going to be on the backside of so many of these fights far away.
Yep.
And then you don't want to kill Mundo. Zillion ult's on the Nocturne. Tom Kench is eating people. And so for Clutch, it's really hard to win a fight from behind because they're always protecting whoever you focus.
Yeah, and LCR has the most damage in this game as Mundo, I think in part to the incredibly long fights that he was able to withstand and that he got to throw cleavers at Cho'Gath for like 20 minutes of the game. But in all of this, the unique thing that makes both of these teams have difficulty in team fights is the Zillion. And there's an insanely high skill cap on this pick, both to play as and play against, which is why I always wonder, like, when is C9 going to pull this out? Because Jensen is now still undefeated on Zillion, 7-0 all time. Again, an incredibly impressive KDA. But I don't think you can actually pull out this pick all the time, because then teams are going to get really used to knowing you actually need to threaten Zillion more so than anything, which is why the Tom Kench was so good with it in this specific game. But this isn't something anyone can just pick up and play. So really a shout out to Jensen for playing that pick so well.
Yeah, and his Orianna was available. They're hovering it, and we were all like, Jensen,
I was going to
Orianna.
say, yeah, we were almost ready to rag on him for the fact that they didn't pick up the Orianna, which would have maybe supplied a little bit more consistent team fight AoE damage and is such a signature pick for Jensen, but he piloted that Zillion so well this time around.
Yeah, and it gave them a little bit more early game pressure. Swain being relatively short range. You saw 2 early ganks go at him where they slowed him down, throw a bomb on him for the stun, and there's not much he can do with that low-range Q. So it did kind of make them need to snowball, but it also gave them way better tools to do so.
Now, Jat, well, Clutch continues to struggle. C9 all of a sudden moves to 6-7, and that's what I want to talk about next, is this developing playoff picture and the dire state that we, that we had painted for Cloud9 just a couple weeks ago. Even the team themselves very vocal about, man, we have very few, games to drop at this point. They were tied in 6th coming into the day, with that win, they're 100% in the playoff picture as of now.
Currently, but they're still not out of the woods because they don't have a winning record. The fact that they've beaten TSM, Echo Fox, Clutch, they even beat TL back a little bit. They really had to turn it around from that 1-5 start. I think a lot of it does have to do with getting Sneaky and Jensen back in there. It's not that Golden Glue wasn't playing well, but just the leadership in game, in the mid and late game situations has helped so much because this team is still very good early game. And they're complementing it now with actually being able to close it. When they started 1-5, there were a ton of those games where they had almost identical leads and lost a game. But here, they win pretty easily.
And Mark, what's your opinion on what Reaper was talking about there with kind of the relationship between Jensen and Blabber? In that Blabber being a very young guy, they seem to be pushing Jensen into a more supportive role to enable him and give him that kind of confidence to make plays.
It's an interesting approach to it because I think a lot of people, when they have a young gun in the jungle, they're like, all right, you're going to play Gragas, you want to play around your veteran mid laner, whatever it is, but they're saying, no, we want Blabber to be the guy going in, getting a little crazy.
Right.
And then, hey, you got a Zillion ult on top of you. I think it's a good way to allow, maybe you're not teaching him everything that he would learn the other way, but at least allows him to play to his strengths more so.
Do you feel it's almost like they're trying to have contracts 2.0? Right? Because C9's technically done this before. Jensen's technically done this before, where you have a young jungler come in who's really good mechanically, plays a lot of carries. And in fact, Cloud9 even criticized contracts a little bit for not playing enough, but you don't notice it when they're in game because they actually make it work very well. If Blabber only plays these aggressive junglers well, they just use it to their benefit.
And they've been building this synergy for a while. When Jensen had his stint on Academy, they duo queued all the time. And so now they kind of flip that back into the LCS, clearly working out.
I think the question then would become what happens when they need to put Blabber on a more supportive pick by virtue of the, the comp or the strategy they want to do and move Jensen back to a playmaker. Can they play that way?
Not everyone can do everything.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not going to be great there.
Well, we'll see. When your playoff hopes are on the line, some players want to dominate a team fight or smash all the turrets. And then there are the players who look to completely nullify the enemy engaged, just to say, I'm helping, presented by State Farm. In this game, Zeyzal's ability to keep his mid laner in the team fight assured Cloud9 the victory. Take a look.
I'm on die. You're okay. Recon missed. Zai's dead. I can ult Nocturne. I ult Nocturne. We win. I'm on for Bivin. Yeah. Stay on him. I can eat him.
I need some help.
He's dead. Don't worry, nice shot.
I'm chilling.
Chill.
Bam.
Let's go, boys.
Nice job, guys.
I mean, again, this just comes back to the idea of execution that we talked about, the level of difficulty for both teams. On the side of C9, how do we utilize all of our saving abilities, our GA, our Zillion ult, and our Tom Kench eat? And then for Clutch, how do we focus and who do we focus to get around all of those abilities?
And especially when you're not protecting Apollo, who didn't have his ultimate there. You saw
poor
Blabber
guy.
absolutely obliterate him. So made it hard for Clutch Gaming to decide if they want to go in. Then who do you focus? Can you protect your backline from the Nocturne? Didn't look like it there.
Solid win for Cloud9 there. We're stepping away. When we come back, Echo Fox and Counterlogic Gaming load up for Game 3. Don't touch that browser.
FLICKR to join as well. A quick kill picked up, though. This could be a trade of 2, and Clutch Gaming might just find number 3 Sneaky nowhere to go, and it will be the triple for Solo.
I'm trying to die. I'm dead.
Molting.
I'm okay here. Swing. Let's swing. Keep on swaying. He's dead. Swing's dead. Nice job.
We stun him. I can need him.
Catch.
I eat him.
Watch out.
We go to burn.
Jensen, will he find the stun? Not quite going to get Apollo, but 2 HP, he will finally burn. A double kill for Zillion, the Guardian Angel now out for the Nocturne, but a revive not quite going to get this one. Looking at this guy, and they will get the trade, a triple kill. No kills on the board yet for Clutch, and the backline access not going to happen for Bevin. Swain cannot get it to go through. A 4 for 0, and Solo's going to be the 5th. The kills come fast and furious, a triple for Jen, and that is the base going down. They can stay for the turret. The Tom Kench ults some people into the bot lane. This is certainly going to be the game.
The sub above difference is daily, not shredded last night or baked yesterday afternoon. Good ingredients, prepped fresh every day. Because that's what daily means. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.